Welcome to FitBody Lifestyle, the show where we dive deep into the world of fitness, health, business, relationships, and the art of living a balanced life. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Greg, and we're here to give you the benefit of our experiences in the fitness and bodybuilding industry, the corporate world, running a business, personal development, and building healthy relationships.
Whether you're sweating it out in the gym, hustling in your business, or seeking balance in your everyday life, you're in the right place.
So lace up those sneakers and grab that water bottle, and let's get ready to transform our minds, our bodies, and our lives.
Welcome back to FitBody Lifestyle in our fusion hack for today. We have the lovely Miss Erin Kamm with us today, and of course,
Me.
my partner in crime, me, Papa Bear. And Erin is our resident tan expert, so we're going to talk about some tanning tips, and you really need to listen closely because it's going to spare you a lot of mistakes. So, Erin,
tanning challenge.
Yes.
We're breaking this down into the three phases of tanning.
Yes.
Okay, so phase one,
Skin prep. All right, so as a redhead, fair-skinned person, I start my skin prep 10 to 14 days out. I exfoliate well, use dry brushing before I get in the shower, and then moisturize, like slather it all on, especially like the drier areas, so your elbows, your knees, your ankles, everything like that.
Okay.
So you do that for yourself. Do you recommend, is that the same thing you would recommend for all of your clients, or is that specific for you?
If you are fair-skinned or you have red hair, I do recommend starting that early. If you don't normally have issues with tan or you have darker skin, like you can get away with probably starting like the 5 to 7 days or whatever, like the tanning company would recommend.
And then still doing the entire process.
Correct, yes. The other thing is if you are wearing a waist trainer, discontinue that at least a week out. I personally recommend 2 weeks. Because it does cause like different pH in your skin and it won't necessarily take the tan as well.
What if you wear a rash guard or something between the tanning or between the waist trainer and your skin?
I would still not wear it at least for peak week.
Okay.
I would still just completely pull it out. Like at that point, I don't feel like it's going to make that much of a difference. Like to me, I would rather have a good tan than wear a waist trainer for the last week. Yeah.
So let's go back to phase one just real quick because I want to cover one term in the spirit of use precise terms precisely, exfoliate. So that, because we were just talking about
this. Let's be specific on that because we were just talking about some horror stories.
Some people are very vigorous exfoliators. Some people are less vigorous exfoliators. So are you a loofah person? Are you a Brillo pad? Are you what are we talking about for exfoliation?
I personally use the gloves. So like you can just get them on Amazon. I don't even know what they're called. Like I just put like shower gloves and then because it's more of like a smoother surface, but you can still get a nice even exfoliation. I don't recommend the loofah. You don't want anything too scratchy or anything like that.
And I think that's what we want to talk about with exfoliation. We're talking about removing dead skin cells.
Yes.
We are not talking about removing your skin.
Yeah.
We've seen it.
We've seen it. And if we're not joking about this, is that we've seen people that show up with scratches, with literally red marks on their skin where they have loofah'd or exfoliated the hell out of that skin. They have removed the dermis. They have not removed the dead skin cells. They have actually removed on that top layer
or
of skin.
created grooves. And you may not even see it. It may not even show on the skin. But once you put the tan on, then it's going to not go on evenly.
Yeah. So when you're exfoliating, I'm not saying like scrubbing. I'm just literally, you're just kind of rubbing it on your skin with the glove and then you're rinsing it off. Like you don't want to go anything too hard. Like you said, you're just removing the dead skin. That's it.
And with the dry brush too. Yeah. So talk a little bit about what's a good dry brush to use and how would you go about doing it?
So same thing as I just got it off of Amazon, and you can buy one that you just kind of like can hook on your hand, and then you can also buy one that has like a pole so you can reach your back. Same thing where you don't want to overdo it, but before you get in the shower. So again, this is the dry brush part of it. You don't want to be wet. You just go over it your full body. Again, this is going to help kind of prep the skin. Get off the.
It also helps with lymphatic drainage.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you always do it towards the heart? Always go up.
Sure.
This is Jamie's technique and her experience. So
that's because
that makes
just
sense.
For that lymphatic benefit.
Yeah. It's just kind of that extra little bit, just to get that nice even tan. And that's something I started in like 2022 also. Yeah.
Okay, so exfoliate, dry brush.
Well, Dry brush, exfoliate, moisturize.
Oh,
If
dry
we're
brush,
going in order.
exfoliate. That's
Yeah.
right.
Right,
Okay.
'cause you're dry.
You're
Yeah.
right. Okay. Dry brush, exfoliate, moisturize. Okay.
Yes.
Now let's talk about execution or application of the tan.
Yes. So for me, I start, because of my skin, I start the Wednesday before
I'm
first.
so sorry. I'm going to be Greg.
Yeah. I don't know if I can take two of you.
What is, I just wanted to back up a little bit with the moisturizer. I know it does matter, like what type of moisturizer you're using. Is there something that you...
I personally like hemp's. And that's something that Alyssa from ProTan had told me to use. Just the original.
HEMPZ?
Yeah. Just the original formula.
You can even get that at the drugstore or Amazon or whatever. Yeah.
You can buy it probably anywhere, like Target, anything like that.
Yeah,
And
okay.
it does a really good job. It just goes on smoothly.
And it doesn't have like a lot of like perfumes and things in,
No.
in there. Cause that's the other thing like you just don't want something that's going to change your pH or that could maybe react with the tanning. And obviously no moisturizing before you tan.
Correct. Yeah. So that's what I was going to say too, is like, for example, if I start on Wednesday, the last time I am moisturizing is Tuesday night. So like if I start on Wednesday with the tan, I do that normal like prep on Tuesday night. On Wednesday before I start the tan, I shower, I exfoliate or dry brush, exfoliate, and that's it. And then I put my first coat of the overnight on Wednesday. Again,
So Wednesday, thinking of a show date of Saturday. Okay.
Yeah. Now, again, if you don't have issues with the tan, if you have darker skin, typically you'll start on a Thursday night. And then, so I wake up Thursday, shower. Again,
Wait, go into Wednesday. So let's go back to Wednesday. So are you just putting on one coat?
one coat of overnight.
Okay.
Yeah. Sleep in it.
And we're talking about the ProTan overnight.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. Thursday morning, wake up, shower, go about my day. I do not exfoliate or do anything once I have tan on. It's just I'm going to rinse. I'm going to shower like normal, rinse, put another coat on.
Are you using
The
soap?
overnight or super dark?
Overnight.
Okay.
And then are you using soap when is it just a rinse without soap or are you using soap?
It is just a rinse. So for me, yeah. So, and then once you have the tan on, you can't wear deodorant. So that's real fun.
Yay.
You start on a Wednesday. Yeah. Especially in Phoenix in August. But yeah, so once you have the tan on, you can't use lotions, you can't use perfumes, you can't use deodorant. ProTan does have a deodorant that you can use. I don't feel like it helped me, but it does help you sweat less, which I guess helps. And then Thursday, same thing. So like I would do another coat of the overnight. This is when some people will start. Friday, wake up, rinse. And then what I do is I go do my pump up. And then usually I'm putting on my first coat of super dark before show check-ins, but I do rinse again before show check-ins.
Awesome. And
So you rinse twice on that Friday then?
Typically, yes.
Okay.
Because I found, and what I learned in 2022 is like, I have to rinse because if I sweat and that mixes with the tan, that's when I have issues with turning green or the splotchiness. So I have to do that. Yeah.
yeah, and I wanted to add into, because I know sometimes people want to get sprayed, which is totally fine too. But if you are a lighter complected person, you still might want to, you should still do the prep that we talked about regardless. But then you could do an overnight to get a base before getting sprayed
Correct. Yes.
too. So
Yes.
something else to think about.
Yeah. And two, like you could get, I think ProTan offers like you can get an extra spray too. So that way, if you've already done a coat and you've prepped your skin with one coat, you still would technically be getting two coats on there.
Have you ever done a tanning bed prep where you...
So I did my very first time competing, but I didn't have issues with the tan when I first started to compete. So that's kind of where I think the gut thing kind of impacted me, because when I first started competing, I never had issues with the tan, but I did have a base of like tanning bed. I probably would never do that again just because of the skin cancer risk.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have Wednesday, base coat, Thursday, rinse, base coat, Friday, rinse,
Super dark.
Super dark.
super dark. Well, no, rinse, workout, rinse, then super dark, right? Okay.
And then usually why I like to do it before show check-ins is because that way it has at least an hour or two to develop. And then I can kind of gauge like how many more coats am I likely going to need to do? Usually at least one. But you want to make sure you're giving it at least an hour or two between each of your coats to develop. just because, the more coats that you're putting on, the bigger risk you're running of it's going to look splotchy or things like that.
Yeah.
Right. And with the overnight one, that one takes a little longer, which is why you're doing that the first day. And that's what actually like processes on the skin, whereas the super dark's going to be has a little more of the bronzers, and that's what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then show day, it's the top coat and the show shine on top of that. Okay.
And sometimes too, like if you do need to be just a little bit darker, you could always do 2 coats of the top coat.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's talk about recovery or tan removal.
Yes. So especially if you're going like back-to-back shows, like the goal is to get the tan off as evenly but as quickly as possible. Baby oil is really good for that. So typically what I'll do is I'll just slather myself in the baby oil, let it sit for about like 5 minutes before I start kind of rinsing it off or scrubbing it off. I hesitate to use the word scrubbing because, again, I don't want people to go like too hard. But this is where I do use the gloves again and just like make sure I'm like really evenly kind of rubbing it off. And I will do that every day between like the shows until I have to put another coat on. I actually think that really helped my skin this year because before I was doing that, I was just kind of scrubbing and using the tan remover and it dried out my skin. So then I was putting more tan on and it just was looking like you could see the patchiness versus the baby oil, I think helped to moisturize it in between too.
And so after the baby oil and the slathering that on, then you're showering and rubbing it off with the gloves?
Yes. The other thing that I do after that is I do use the exfoliator. Because I have to start that process again too.
Right. Oh, so you use okay, got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I moisturize when I get out of the shower.
And one of the other techniques I know that you've talked about is in lieu of showering, get in the bathtub and soak
baby
with
oil in
baby oil
the bathtub.
Yeah.
I like that too. Oh, one other thing I thought about too with doing the tan application is the hands and feet.
Yeah.
And elbows.
Yes.
Yes.
You want to usually the first coat I'll do it all over, and then after that I kind of hold off because it will take like a lot and you don't want it to be darker. So usually after I do my first overnight, I'll skip doing the drier areas until the end. And I kind of have to gauge what coat when I'll start to do that again, but usually it's only like at the end.
Right. So hands, feet, knees, elbows,
ankles is a big one for me too.
Ankles. Yeah. Anywhere that has a drier skin, it's going to take more of that tan.
Yeah. So you kind of have to like work around it.
Yeah.
So
sorry. One other nice thing about skipping the hands for a while is you can still wash your hands like fully without having to worry about it. So
just don't forget to do your hands and feet before you get on.
Right. which we've seen.
Yes. Which we've seen.
Yes.
And in this fusion hack, we went pretty quick into these steps, and you can tell that there's a lot more involved in it. And if there's a takeaway from this, first recognize that there are phases to the tan. So the skin prep is really essential. The application of the tan is an art, and you get better at that art the more you do it. The same with the skin prep, and you figure out what works for you. Erin's got multiple shows under her belt. I think we said 16 or so shows.
And you're advising athletes every
and
weekend
the clients
too.
that you're taking through. Yeah. So if you heard this fusion hack and you're thinking, oh my God, that's a lot, it's not as bad as what it may seem, and it is something that is very individual. So everybody's a little bit different. If there's one thing I think is very common or universal is the skin prep part, because that's the part, and the waist trainer think because we've seen it regardless of skin tone, where the abdomen doesn't take as much tan as the legs do because oh God, why can't the rubbery stuff? I can't remember what I'm thinking of on the inside of the waist trainer.
Neoprene?
Neoprene. That's it. Yeah. When the neoprene will affect your skin's pH, and it will affect the absorption or absorbability of the tan in that area. We've seen it. So so those are the things. All right, the 3 phases: skin prep, execution, and recovery. Erin, thank you very much for this. And for everybody else, remember to like, comment, subscribe, leave your review, and remember the 3 B's: be good to yourself,
be good to each other,
and be safe. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to FitBody Lifestyle. We hope today's episode has left you feeling motivated and equipped to tackle your fitness goals, business challenges, and the daily dance of life. Remember to value progress over perfection. Life's tough enough alone. Find the chosen family around you to help you along the way.
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite streaming platform. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at FitBody Fusion.